Hello, how are you? This is Lerone Kuntz. I'm here in Fulton County, Georgia, and I'm here to give you an update on the Donald Trump, Fani Willis case here in Georgia. As we know, Friday, Judge McAfee determined that he would not disqualify Fani Willis from the case. And as a result of his ruling, there has been a request from Donald Trump's attorney, President Trump's attorney, Steve Sadow. And let me just go here on his X account, his Twitter account. It says, statement of Steve Sadow, lead defense counsel for President Trump in the Fulton County, Georgia case. President Trump and 7 defendants have jointly filed a motion requesting the court to grant a certificate of immediate review of his order denying dismissal of the case and disqualification of Fulton County DA Willis. Okay, now what they're asking is that Judge McAfee allows them to have an immediate appeal. In a case like this, usually all the appeals are done after the case is completed. So in this case, the appeals would usually happen after there was a conviction in the whole RICO case. If they had the whole trial and they convicted Trump, then they would be allowed to appeal. But in this case, what Sadow is requesting is that Judge McAfee allows them to take his ruling to the Court of Appeals. And they give the reason for that. They say, the motion notes that the court found that Willis's actions created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity that lingers in this case. Now let's look up the word mendacity. Okay, we got it right here. Mendacity, untruthfulness, lying. Mendacity, noun, lying, untruthfulness, dishonesty, deceit, deceitfulness, deception, disassembling, insincerity, disingenuous, hypocrisy. You get the point. So it says, the motion notes that the court found that Willis's actions created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity that lingers in this case, but it nonetheless refused to dismiss the case or disqualify her. The motion further notes that the court found Georgia case law lacks controlling precedent for the standard for disqualification of a prosecuting attorney for forensic misconduct. For these reasons, among others, the court order is ripe for pretrial appellant review. What Sadow is saying, and this is also what McAfee has said, there is no case law that shows that a prosecuting attorney has been disqualified for forensic misconduct. What Sadow is saying is that the reason why you don't have case law in this is because no DA has ever done this. No one has done these things, so you don't have case law. But that's not a reason for you not to disqualify them. You should disqualify them even though there's no case law, because nothing has ever happened like this in Georgia before. So for that reason, Sadow was saying, you know what, let's take this to the Court of Appeals. And I think that McAfee is going to do that. I think that he outlined so many different things in this ruling of his that is ripe, like he said, is ripe for appellant review. He put all of these things in there about the untruthfulness of that whole proceeding, and someone needs to look at this. Now, whether or not the appellant court is going to look at it now, they might just say, you know what, let's wait to the end of the case. Or they may say, yeah, let's take this up right now. And the experts are saying that if the appellant court decides to take up this case, then that will push this case past November, that it won't be heard until November. The trial, rather, it won't take place until after November, until after the election. So it's pretty much going to have the same effect as disqualifying Fani Willis if the Court of Appeals takes up this case. If McAfee allows Sadow to take this issue to the Court of Appeals. Now, if McAfee says no, what I said is going to stand until the end of the trial. He can do that. He may just do that. I don't think he's going to do that, but he can do that. If that happens, Georgia has passed a bill here called Senate Bill 92, and that law, it says the bill establishes the following grounds for removal or involuntary retirement of a district attorney or solicitor general from office. So they've created a law here that allows for the removal of a district attorney, not just disqualification, but they can actually remove a district attorney from office here in Georgia now. Okay, they just passed this year, and it just went through very recently. So these are the reasons that they can actually disqualify district attorney. And some of these reasons are the same things that Fani Willis is being accused of. Okay, the first reason that they can remove a district attorney is mental or physical incapacity. She doesn't have mental or physical incapacity. I know some of you will disagree with that, but I don't think that that's going to fly. The second one is willful misconduct in office, and that's exactly what I just finished talking about, and that's exactly what McAfee is saying occurred in this case, but there's no case law to allow her to be disqualified. But now there's a law on the books that allows her to be disqualified for willful misconduct in office. Then the third one is willful and persistent failure to carry out statutory duties. Now that's different. Okay, let me just digress for a minute. One of the reasons why they passed this law is because they saw in other states like New York and California, DAs saying that they wouldn't prosecute certain crimes like shoplifting and looting and things like that. So they created this also to deal with DAs that may just not want to prosecute certain classes of crime. And they're saying, no, you can't do that here. All right, you have to take every crime on its own merits and review each crime. You can't just say we're not going to prosecute shoplifting or anything like that. So they don't want Georgia to become like New York and California and these places that just don't want to enforce certain crimes. DAs are taking it on themselves not to enforce crimes. They don't want to have that. So that's why they have number 3, willful and persistent failure to carry out statutory duties. Okay, number 4, conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude. We don't have that here, not yet. I wouldn't say that there was any crime of moral turpitude. And let's look up turpitude. Turpitude is depravity, wickedness, moral turpitude, wickedness, immorality, depravity, corruption, corruptness. Okay, that might cover some of the things that we saw in the hearing. All right, we're going to move on. The next one is conduct presidential to the administration of justice, which brings the office into disrepute. Now, this also covers what we saw in the hearing. Disrepute is the state of being held in low esteem by the public. Now, the argument can be made that Fani Willis's testimony, her demeanor, her behavior on the stand, Wade's perjury on the stand and lying on the stand can bring about disrepute. And we're going to go back. Disrepute, the state of being held in low esteem by the public. Yes, I think people now hold her conduct in low esteem. And then the last one, knowingly authorizing or permitting an assistant district attorney or assistant solicitor general to commit any of the aforementioned acts. Now, that could be used too, because they could say, well, Fani Willis allowed him to perjure himself. She allowed him to submit false documents to his divorce case and his divorce proceedings, and she allowed him to testify and perjure himself on the stand. And that case could be made because when you watch the testimony of Wade, he is pretty much being defended by the attorneys from the state. Fani Willis's attorneys are objecting to things that they're asking Wade, and it seems like they are part of the cover-up. So the case can be made that they knowingly authorized or permitted the assistant district attorney to commit any of the aforementioned acts, which is perjury. So they could actually use this law right here that they just created this year to go after Fani Willis to disqualify her or remove her from office. And that pretty much may be the case. It could happen. So that's what we have right now in front of us. We're waiting to see what McAfee decides to do, whether he's going to allow the appeal or not. And as it develops, I will be coming back out here and giving you updates. So until next time, as always, thanks for stopping by, and peace, and stay safe.